All right, the Whiteface Classic out in Hereford, Texas. We have Daniel, Beatriz in the MJ10 division out of Garden City, Kansas. Current rating 758. Sponsors Beatriz Disc Golf. Played the tournament a little blind, but overall the course played pretty simple. Park style course. Starting off on hole 17, 476 foot par 3. This hole for the first round actually played with a Mando. It was later changed after round 1. This is why you see Daniel going out left into the tall grass. He didn't play it right to the basket. This tree right in front of him, he's going to throw around it to the left. That was the Mando tree. Unfortunately, they changed this after the round, so they adjusted everything. This is why you see it as a par 3. It was initially par 4. So that was his second there going around that tree or bush. Now he's playing his third. Gets a little bit high, a little bit short, but typical putt that he can typically make. So we'll see if he can put this in for his bogey. Just a little low, hits the cage and rolls a little bit back. So he's going to clean this up here. Start off the tournament with a double bogey. So after this, we move on to hole 18. 306 foot par 3. This one kind of plays straight and then down this hill. Daniel threw his Z-Lite nuke, grip locked a little bit into that tree to the left, but he got pretty good kick, luckily. So now he's kind of pitching down, trying to get as close as he possibly can. I think he's throwing a Star Gorgon. Gets some great turn out of it. Misses both the tree in front of him and the tree right in front of the other. This is where you see him here. This is his par putt. Probably say, 10, 15 feet or so. So let's see if he puts this one in. Good putt. A little wobbly out of the hand, but right in the middle. Good way to save par after got stuck off the tee. Hole 1, 347 foot par 3. You'll see the left side has the wire fence or whatever you want to call it. So that's all OB. So Daniel got pretty lucky. Threw something pretty low, but got some good ground play, got back in bounds. So for his approach, he's throwing his soft zone little early. Goes out a little bit right. Probably left himself about a 15-footer if I'm not mistaken. But again, still typical putt he normally makes. So we'll see if he gets this one in for his par. Going through his motions here. And just a little left. So goes back in, cleans up his bogey. So far, +3 through the first 3 holes. Hole 1, 352 foot par 3, playing downhill to the right. Kind of turns over his nuke there. He got lucky he didn't go past his wire fence. Otherwise, he would have been OB. So now he's playing his up for his par. Throwing his champing rhino. Goes about 10 feet, 7 feet past the basket. So we'll see if he can put this one in for his par. Yep, right down the middle. Moving on to hole 3, 352 foot par 3. This one's straightforward, just right down the middle. He has to just get in between the tree on the left and that kind of dead tree on the right. So lands it right in the middle. So it was a good throw off the tee. Kind of threw it with all hyzer, but outside of circle 1, maybe circle 2 right here. Got a little bit high, so got away from him a little bit. So he left himself about a 10-footer, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even shorter. This looks pretty short, actually. Cages it, so now he has to tap in for his bogey. A little frustration there from him. Something we've been working on to kind of not be in his head so much. That way he can focus and stay in the game. You'll notice here on hole 4, 276 foot par 3. He's thrown from the right of the tee pad. These tee pads were very short, so there was several players that weren't always thrown from the pads. They were thrown from the right of the pads just because of how short they were. So Daniel threw a Star Gorgon off the tee, got a good some turn, but it faded out. But overall got a par on hole 4. Moving on to hole 5, 360 foot par 3. This one plays down the middle, a little bit to the left. He got a really good throw on this one. Got some good flex out of that Z-Lite nuke. got a good roll there at the end too. So here for his approach for 2, he's throwing his champion Rhino. Got it a bit high, but he got some tree love there. The branch helped him out and kind of dropped him down. Otherwise, that was going to go a lot farther. Left himself a pretty short par putt here. Right down the middle. Moving on to hole 6, we have a 475-foot par 4. Plays right behind this big tree. So Daniel, against choosing that Z-Lite Nuke, that's one of his discs that he's been practicing quite a bit with. So it's been becoming one of his favorite drivers off the tee, depending on wind and what's going on. So for a second here, switched to something a little bit more stable because it was a headwind. So he threw a Champion Destroyer, threw a little low, but he got some good skip and got it up about circle 1, if I'm not mistaken. So this is his birdie attempt here on hole 6. Gives it a good bid. Just short. Just hit the cage, actually. So he's tapping out there for his par. So far, +4 through hole 6. Hole 7, 436-foot par 3. Plays all the way down. We have some OB on the left and behind the basket. Unfortunately, Daniel got that a little bit high going for the turnover. Hits that tree, drops him about 125 feet in front of the tee. So now he's scrambling here. Pretty open shot, straightforward. Got a pretty good throw off the tee, but he starts bringing this OB on the right into play. He luckily got it to stick and sit down. So at this point now he's got to throw this in for his par. So he's throwing that Champion Rhino. Little long, faded out just in front of the basket. I can't really tell you here what the distance is. I'm bad at gauging distance, maybe 10, maybe 15 feet, but nonetheless, it's good putt. Good way to say bogey. Hole 8, 349-foot par 3. Left side of that fence is OB, so Daniel's throwing something a little bit stable to be safe and stay in bounds. So he's throwing that Champion Destroyer. So nothing wrong there. Played it safe. Now he's throwing his approach to get up by the basket. I believe that's his off zone. Really good throw. Swings it out. About a 5-footer, 10-footer for his par putt here on 8. We'll see if he can get this one. He was leaving a couple of short putts short. Some of his medium-sized putts, distance-wise, he was getting some good putts on those. You'll see him pointing at the tee pad. He said there was a bunch of ants on there, but I told him, forget it. Just go ahead and throw. It's not going to hurt anything. So going back to that nuke, playing all hyzer because this basket plays inside of the tree, so you're throwing into the tree. So he's trying to get a good shot to get to the opening. So right here, you'll see the basket right there. So again, going back with that Champion Rhino, trying to play a little flex to get right under the basket. Unfortunately, it comes out all hyzer and high, so he kicks out to the right. Fortunately for him, with all those branches and things there, he didn't leave himself a very far putt for par. So this is his par attempt here. A really good putt right down the middle. So far, so good. Moving on to hole 10, 380-foot par 3. Going back to his nuke. Got a really good pull on that one. Came out flat, so it didn't get a chance to flex. So it got some distance, but it didn't get too far down the fairway. He's playing his zone here for his approach. A little early, hits the tree and kicks to the right, so he gives himself a par putt, so he's not obstructed by anything. So this is for his par attempt here. Good bid, but hits the cage just a little short, so now he's got to tap in for his bogey. So far through hole 10, he has at +6. Moving on to hole 11, 280-foot par 3. So we have the whole left side here. This barbed wire fence plays as OB, so he's trying to play a flex with his nuke here. Get a little bit of flex to the left and then just play it back to the basket. Throws a really good shot. He gets it flat, so it doesn't really flex on him, but nonetheless, it's safe, and it gives him a birdie attempt. So here as his caddy, I kind of played this one wrong. I told him to just give it a soft bid and not even go for it because I was worried about that OB in the back. So he wanted to run it, but probably should have let him. So this is his tap out for par. Hole 12, 251-foot par 3. Follows the line of these trees. It's right behind the last tree, so he throws his Champion Destroyer. This, again, was me. I was telling him to throw that. That's why you see him shaking his head a little bit. I was worried about the headwind turning his light nuke to the left, but I'm sure he would have been fine if he would have thrown it the way he typically throws it. So right now he's putting for his par. Gets away from him a little to the right of the basket, so now he's putting out for his bogey. And saves his bogey there. No more harm after that. Moving on to hole 13, 330-foot par 3. This one plays a bit uphill. It's a little bit deceiving. I thought it was a lot shorter, but there's this hill right where the disc is going over, so it made it look a lot shorter than what it was. Daniel just gets it nose up with hyzer, so he leaves himself pretty short, but nonetheless, it's a pretty good or pretty short approach. Little early hyzers to the right. Leaves himself, I don't know, anywhere between a 10-footer, I would imagine, here for his par attempt. And got it right down. Saves his par there, so that's pretty good. Moving on to hole 14, 438-foot par 3. This one we're playing back down the hill, so we were coming up the little hill. Now we're going back down, so he's throwing his nuke. Gets a good pull, little nose up, so it starts to fade out pretty quick. This tall grass on the right's all safe. That barbed wire fence is pretty far back there, so as long as he didn't cross that barbed wire fence, he was fine. So throwing his crystal, if I'm not mistaken, zone, or Z zone, I believe, trying to play around this bush. So now he's pitching out for 3, so now he's putting for his bogey here. So let's see if he can at least save bogey and walk away with no more damage. Lining up his putt here. Good bid, but just a little high. Looks like it picked up a little bit. Just got it a little high. Putts in for his double, or drops in for his double bogey there, unfortunately. Now we're going back up the hill. We're playing up a little farther than what we were playing before. So this is hole 15, 549-foot par 4. Daniel throws his Z-Light nuke, but turns it over into the tall grass. Again, that's not OB, so that's fine. It's just kind of tough footing there. Throws his Champion Destroyer to get back into the fairway. Unfortunately, clips that tree right in front of him. Choosing to go back with that nuke. He's trying to play a flex to get up the hill. Puts way too much turn. Took us a while to find it. We thought he was in the tall grass, but we eventually found it up here on the hill about 50, 60 feet from the basket. So he plays a little chip shot up, a little long. So we'll see if he's able to make this putt here. And double bogey there, if I'm not mistaken. Hole 16, 312-foot par 3. So on this one, I was having him throw out to the right because you have to cross this little creek in the middle, which was dry, so you'll see the bridge right in front of him, so the basket's right behind it. So he played out to the right. That way he has an opening back to the basket. He threw his glow tank, if I'm not mistaken, just threw it a little bit with hyzer and early. So now we're out in the trees throwing out. So now he's putting here for his par. Gives it a good bid, just a bit high, a little just over the basket and to the left. So now he's putting in for his bogey. And this is the last hole to end round 1. So after round 1, he ends up at plus 12. Overall, not bad for playing it blind. So round 1 results, he was in first place, up 6 strokes from Benjamin Brobston. In third place, we had Braylon Dixon at plus 59. Hope you guys all enjoyed round 1. Stay tuned for round 2. All right, round 2 of the Whiteface Classic. So round 2, we are starting, I believe, on hole 14. This round was much warmer. The first round was pretty cool. This round, I think, got up into the mid-80s with quite a bit of sun. So it was a little exhausting, but good practice for Daniel to be out in the sun and in the heat just to kind of get used to playing in the summer heat now that summer's here. So threw his nuke off the tee. Got a little farther in the first round, so now he's playing his zone. Trying to go around this tree in front of him, go left and then back to the right. Got a good throw. It just kind of went straight for him. It didn't really want to fight out of it. I couldn't remember if this was a headwind or not. on his second throw. So now he's putting for his par putt. Really good bid. Just Daniel nicks the basket and spits out. Didn't hit any chains, but it was still a very good bid. Now he's putting for his bogey here. There we go. So +1 through hole 1, starting on 14. Now we move on to 15, hole 15, 549-foot par 4. So this is that one where Daniel grip locked it first round to the left. So he's playing something a little bit more stable, choosing that destroyer, which is heavier. Stayed out in the fairway. So far so good, better than the first round. So now we're going to that nuke. We're going to go play the flex to the left and back right, just a little bit low, so he gets it in the tall grass, but overall not too bad. So now he's throwing up. This is where probably a backhand would be very useful. Trying to play the flex back to the left and back, and then unfortunately for him, it just got to the right on him. That's his pitch up there, so now he's got to clean up his par here. Or excuse me, not his par. Believe this might be for his bogey or double bogey. I could not remember. That one just spits out, went through the front and out the back. He spin putts, so sometimes he spins it way too much where it just goes right through. So it looks like, yeah, that was his double bogey with that tap in right there after that spit out. So hole 16, 312-foot par 3. This is the one where we're going over the bridge. So this time he wanted to go straight at it. It was a really good throw. He still had a good view of the basket, so he's choosing his champion Rhino here. Just got it a bit high. It did fade at the end. We thought it was down in the creek. It took us a while to find it again. Still gave himself a pretty decent look at par. So he gives this a pretty good bid. Just a little bit, or not just a little bit, just under the basket there for his par. Now he's going to go ahead and putt this one in for his bogey. So not the ideal start through 3 holes being at +4. So this is one of the things that we're working on, is that mental game. That way he stays in it. And I know he's working hard on making sure he doesn't let bad holes affect him throughout the whole round. So this time, if you notice, we're playing straight at this basket. This is because the Mando was eliminated after round 1. So now we're playing right at it. So it is a par 3 like it was in the first round. Unfortunately, he got that double bogey first round. So now he's putting for his par here. Just a bit high. I think it was a right to left, so the wind got it since he got it nose up and hyzer. Now he's putting for bogey here on 17. Just sails on him. Kind of looks over at me, but I couldn't do a whole lot other than letting him know that, it happened. So I told him just to pitch up and not try to run it from down at the bottom. So right here, he's going ahead and putting for a triple bogey, unfortunately, on hole 17. So again, not the most ideal start, but something that we're kind of working through. So hole 18, 306, par 3. This time he really grip locked it. He got farther left on this tree. Round 1, it got kicked out. So now he's pretty much playing for bogey. So we're trying to say bogey and not let it get worse than what it was. So got that pitch out. Now he's throwing his Z zone, if I'm not mistaken. So he got a good straight throw. This is for his bogey attempt here. So we'll see if he can clean this up without any more damage after a bogey. All right, and saves the bogey there. Moving back to hole 1, 347-foot par 3. You'll notice he's throwing his destroyer. I think this was a headwind, if I'm not mistaken, so I was trying to play it safe and help him, because his nuke, since it's a light one, it typically flips on him in a headwind depending on how strong the wind's blowing. Throwing his nuke here, or excuse me, throwing his zone here for his approach. This was a lot closer than the first round, so we'll see if he can correct it from the first round, get a par. He does, so that's a better improvement on hole 1. So hole 2, 352, par 3. This one again playing down the hill to the right. Gets a really good pull. Feel like he got the full flight on that disc. Got it to go left. Starts coming back. I thought it was a lot closer. I thought he was going to get by the basket. Digs into the right of this tree. So he left himself about a 60-foot approach. So just plays it up. Got it with about 5 feet or so. Now he's just tapping in for his first par putt here on hole 2. There we go. Almost spits out than that again. Since he spins pretty hard when he putts, so sometimes he gets some of those spit outs, unfortunately. Moving on to hole 3, 255-foot par 3. Going back with that nuke. About the same throw from the first round, just a little bit farther to the right, closer to this dead tree here. Still an approach that he can get there. He was gonna flick it under, but he decided against that, so he came back over to get the bag, and I believe he tries to go with a jump putt, if I'm not mistaken. Those are another aspect of his game that we've been working on, his jump putts, because he's not very consistent with those. So right there you'll see he got a very good jump putt where the nose was flat, kind of down. Sometimes he gets it up with the nose up and hyzer, and depending on the wind it carries on him. So not bad at all on hole 3, getting a par. Moving on to hole 4, 276, par 3. Going with the same disc as the first round. Just got up on him. It lifted and hit the branch right there. I think actually that saved him, because with the wind coming from right to left, I think it was going to go into the thicker trees on the left. Now he's throwing that rhino. He's trying to flex it to go left and come right. It is a light rhino, so typically it does try to drift to the left and then comes back. So that's his par putt. You'll see the wind took that one again. So now he's in an uncomfortable position, putting for putting for bogey. So we'll see if he's able to save bogey and not let the damage get worse.
Nice putt.
And he does. That's a very good putt. He just kind of flicks it up there. Hole 5, 360-foot par 3. Going back with that nuke. Pretty close to identical almost from that first throw. I think this one may have been a bit shorter, but the flight seemed pretty similar. Playing his approach here for 2 with that champion rhino. Got a good throw. It was a bit short, but normally anything within about 15, 20-ish feet, he's typically pretty decent with his putt. It's something we've been working on a lot since the, since start of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Hole 6, 475-foot par 4. Going back to that nuke, grip locks it a little bit, but he's out in the open. Everything over there is safe. He has a really straight throw right at it, so this time he's switching over to a more flippier destroyer, but it came out just with hyzer, so it didn't get a chance to flip up. All right, now he's approaching for his 3. See if he can throw this in for a birdie. I just turned it over just a tad. So it leaves himself another putt with some meat on the bone, so we'll see he's able to get this one here. And a good putt. Little hyzer, almost spits out, but basket caught it, so good putt there. All right, moving on to hole 7, 436-foot par 3. Got a better throw this time, just a little bit low, cuts into the ground, digs, and goes out to the right. But he got a little bit more distance than the first round here. All right, going back to that nuke here, going back down to the basket. This one just got up on him. Came out all hyzer, nose up. Didn't get too much distance. Now he's playing his 3 here, so he's got to throw this in for his par. This was a really good throw. Short, but it was a good throw. Sometimes he's not sure how hard to throw it on his approaches, so sometimes he either throws it too long or leaves it really short. Every once in a while, he'll get a really good throw and get it within about 10 feet. So he's playing it safe. He doesn't want to let it go and get out of hand, so I believe at this point, if I'm not mistaken, I think that is a double bogey. Yeah, double bogey. Hole 8, 349-foot par 3. Again, we're playing the safe, so we don't bring that OB into play, going with that champion destroyer. Good throw in the fairway, so we're all safe, so no harm, no foul. So going back to that zone as his approach, this was another good throw. I think it just needed a little bit more power. Not the best, again, at judging distances, so I thought it was a standstill throw because he might have thrown it too far if he got 1 or 2 steps in, but probably should have had him throw with 1 or 2 steps, get a little bit more power. Good bid at a par, just a little early to the left. Hits some chains, but it just doesn't stick since it hyzered right out in front of it. Cleaning up his bogey here on hole 8. Hole 9, 340, par 3. So this one, he just got it really low. I think if he would have got that a bit higher, that would have got some distance a lot closer than the first round. So now he's pitching out. That's a good pitch out from where he was with that rhino. He got the flex out of that, started fading out right at the end of the trees, but unfortunately still got in there. So now he's just dumping out for 3. Now he's saving here, or attempting to save his bogey. on hole 9. So we'll see if he can say bogey here. Good bid, just a bit high. Hits the top band and does not stick. So double bogey here on hole 9 moves the score to plus 14. So just struggling just a tad bit here second round. I think the heat got to him a little bit just because it was a lot warmer. Throwing his Z-Lite Nuke here on hole 10, 380-foot par 3. Got a good pull. About, I don't know, it looks about the same distance as it was of the first round. This time he's going with his Rhino. Plays it to the left of the basket and right in front of this big tree. So gives himself a good shot at par. So this is something he should make from right here. And he got it. Yep. Right down the middle. Flat. So hole 11, 284 par 3. Again, the barbed wire fence on the left plays his OB. Going with the same shot as first round. Unfortunately, he just got a little bit more turn on that one than he wanted to. Kind of turned his wrist a little bit more than normal. So right now he's throwing his third. Playing with the Champion Rhino here. Could have used a little bit more power. So now he's got to make this putt here for his bogey. We'll see if he gets it here. Good bid, just a little bit low. I missed the tap in there, but he did tap in for his double bogey there. Hole 12, 251-foot par 3. This time he threw his nuke, so this time he's like, I'm going to throw this because I think I can get it there. And he did. He had a really good throw. I would say I think this is maybe 20, 25 feet or so. So this is one of those putts that he typically gives a good bid to. He got a really good attempt there, just not enough, little low. So hits the basket first, then the chains, but it doesn't stick. So this is for his par putt. So not bad at all. Really good attempt at his birdie there. Just didn't want to stick. Hole 13, 334, par 3. Playing again up the hill just a ways, just over this hill. Got a really good throw here. Got a flex, got up there, just right over the hill. I believe this is the last hole, if I'm not mistaken, because they started on 13. So he's leaving himself here, I don't know, 80 feet, 100 feet to the basket. Again, leaves his approach just a bit short, but it's still a putt he typically makes here. So we'll see if he can finish the round with a par. And just short. Cages it. Again, a little frustration. Biggest thing that we're working on, just so it doesn't affect him. I know it was the end of the round, but just still one of those things that we've been working on. So I hope you guys all enjoyed watching the Whiteface Classic. I'm not the best at commentary. I think this is only the second time I've done it, so any feedback is appreciated. So round 2 results. MJ10, Daniel, ended up in first place at plus 29. Benjamin, second place at plus 32. And Braylon Dixon at 117. Thanks for watching, everybody.